listening to Loris Live on News Radio 740 KTRH. And today, we've been talking about the Texas governor's race and whether or not it is the lesser of two evils. I don't think there's any debate about that part of it. It is the lesser of two evils. However, how many people are really considering voting for somebody besides Bill White or Rick Perry? Because too often we get caught up in this paradigm of the lesser of two evils when there are other options besides those two. You know that there are more people on the ballot besides two with a D and an R behind their name running for governor. And we have with us today Catherine Glass, who is the Libertarian candidate for governor of Texas. And I'd like to introduce Ms. Glass right now. Thank you for joining us this afternoon.
Well, thank you. It's Kathie Glass. That's how I appear on the ballot. Kathie Glass.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Kathie, thank you for joining us today.
And I'm working to try to save America by saving Texas, making us strong and independent of Washington.
How did you go from being a lawyer, a trial lawyer at that, to wanting to get involved in public office?
Well, I've been involved in party politics for a while, first in Libertarian Party and then Republican Party, because to me it was principle above party. I didn't really care about what party I could work through if I could further liberty and our economic freedoms. So I would work with either party that I thought was best able. As recently as 2008, my husband and I were delegates to the Texas state a Republican convention. But I saw there that we just weren't getting anywhere. And then when I saw the results of the primaries recently this year, I just said, that's not good enough. We're just going down the tubes. And it's just a question of, are you going to hell in a handbasket faster or slower? And I said, that's not an option. We just need to make a turn around, another direction, and somebody else has got to run. Well, it turned out that somebody was me.
So your experience is in law, and what else would you say that you experience do you bring to the table to be an effective governor for our state?
Well, I'm a citizen with the right ideas, the right principles, which nobody else in this race has, and I have a plan how to achieve them, how to save and restore our American and our Texas and our individual sovereignty. And I have the cojones to see it through. And that's something that sets me apart from any other candidate in this race.
Now, I read that you are, I don't know whether you said this or somebody said this about you, you're picking up where Deborah Medina left off. Would you say that's a true statement?
Oh, I wouldn't argue with that, because that's why I say when I saw what happened in the primaries, if Deborah Medina had won, I would not be doing this. I would be supporting her. We're not identical. She's not a libertarian. I am. Mm-hmm. But there's such overlap that it's just not worth it to try to compete. We just need to push for what works and what will save our sovereignty and our liberty. So, yes, I would be working for her. But she didn't win. I guess I'm plan B.
It's not too bad. You sound like you've got a lot of spunk. I like that. Tell me, what Deborah Medina was a proponent of eliminating property taxes. Are you? Would you do likewise if you became governor of the state?
Absolutely. But here's where we differ. Mm-hmm. I say get rid of property taxes and replace them with nothing, not an increased or expanded sales tax, nothing at the state level. Because the problem is not that we tax ourselves too little, it's that we spend too much. I say cut our budget, cut it 50%. 1/2, which would only put us back to where we were roughly 10 or 12 years ago, demonstrating how explosive our budget has been, even under a supposedly conservative administration. And no, I do not think Rick Perry is a conservative at all.
Okay, so now I've got a couple of questions. You say you're going to cut the budget in half. That's a huge project. How do you propose to cut the budget in half?
It's not really that big a deal. Use the line item veto. If you're talking about mechanism and how you get it done.
Yes, and what you target to cut. Okay,
here's one thing. Eliminate all taxpayer-funded services for non-citizens. That's estimated to be 25% of our $180 billion budget, right there. Another thing is opt out of Medicaid, which is another 28% of our budget. Now, we couldn't afford that before Obamacare, but Obamacare has upped that liability by 75%. We can't afford that. Other states can. States are going to be opting out of Medicaid, and we should too. That's not a dollar-for-dollar savings because we are going to want to take those savings and use it to craft what Texans want to provide for other Texans by way of health care services. But it will not be what Washington dictates to us with all its bureaucratic red tape. We will get better services at a lower cost. Now, those are just two very big ticket items. Anything can be cut, and almost all should be cut across the board, including education. We overspend on education just like we do on everything else. And it does not mean that you get a better product. Many times it means you get a worse product.
Absolutely.
They're spendthrifts. They don't have to make hard decisions about what they want. They just build these Taj Mahals and Taj Mahal stadiums and incur debt that they never would have done if they had not thought that there was a bottomless pit of money.
One of my listeners wrote, I asked yesterday on my page what questions listeners would have for you. One listener said, Ms. Glass appears to be a small government advocate. Could you ask her about how she would reverse Obamacare and correct the horror of the stimulus payout?
Nullify Obamacare. I've got 4 basic points in my program.
Okay, tell us what they are.
Number 1, secure the border using the Texas State Guard under the total control of the governor. Rick Perry could have done this years ago. He hasn't. He won't, because he wants open borders. He's an open borders advocate. Number 2, resist unconstitutional federal acts like Obamacare. That's just for starters, using nullification and interposition. And now on my website, I go into detail about what these things mean, as I do my education plan and everything. So if you just want to say, well, how's she going to do that? Go to my website, and you can read up on how I would do that. But yes, we have.
And your website is?
KathieForGov.com. That's Kathie, the number 4, GUV.com, or my Facebook page, Kathie Glass for Texas Governor. But continuing on my 4-point plan.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, where do we get? Secure the border, resist unconstitutional federal acts, get our budget in order. Get us in shape so that we can withstand Washington financially, stand on our own 2 feet, not accept money from Washington, and not accept direction from them. That means cutting our budget in half, ending property taxes, franchise taxes, and taxpayer-funded services for non-citizens. Use the line item veto, which a governor can do to get this done. And number 4.
Hang on. Number 4, we're going to get to after the break because we are on a break right now. We're talking with Kathie Glass, Libertarian candidate for governor, and she's giving us her 4-point strategy for whipping this government in shape. And when we come back, we're going to talk more with Kathie Glass. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to Loris Live on News Radio 740 KTRH.